Yes, you can sit there. All right. Theoretically, we are live. Not that that matters much. I'm not actually expecting anyone to view these live. This is entirely an easy way of recording. But it is showing up live. Fun fact. Theoretically, people could log in and see this while I play it. It's like live streaming. It's like I'm playing in real time, and viewers could watch and even comment on the stream as I'm playing it, which is an interesting concept, but absolutely not interesting enough for me to pursue it. It's just, this is a really easy way to get the footage off of my PlayStation 4 onto YouTube. So, hey mom, Bug here again, giving you more data than you need, as per usual. So we're back in control. And I don't have too much to show you today. I thought we would take a break from the regular scheduled program of progressing the plot, and I would show you some of the rooms from early in the game now that we have the levitation ability. I told you that it was very cool once we got the levitation ability. Some of these rooms would look completely different, right? So I thought we could go through, oh, let's see, where's a good spot? Executive's not that interesting. Maintenance is a little interesting, I think. Maybe we can get up to that upper level we saw where there was like a swampy coolant blueness leaking out from above. That's a cool area. That's all interesting. Research is also pretty cool. Um, Research is my favorite department, so let's go to central research. So now we have levitate, and I haven't leveled it up particularly high. I did a little bit of ability points modification while you weren't looking because you don't need to see the guts of the game. It's not important. We're more in this for the plot, right? But regardless, theoretically, I should be able to levitate just a little bit higher than I did previously. So I can't even remember how many sections there are in the game. There's executive, obviously, which is where Pope is. There's research, which is where all the laboratories are, and Dr. Underhill is downstairs. We haven't met her yet, but I know she's there. There's maintenance, which is where we met Arish, and has that NCS section. There's, I guess, containment, which has the panopticon. I guess I could look it up. I mean, I suppose the map probably says all the sections, but each one has its own tone. And to my taste, research is the best. Um, it's not. It's not like it's not brutalism, but it's not as strictly speaking brutalism to me. Somehow it feels a little bit more like soft, possibly just because of the trees. Oh, cool! We get enemies immediately. Throw rocks at their faces. We had a technical difficulty in the form of everything going sideways briefly. We had the technical difficulty in the form of one of the cats losing her shit. But we're back now, and I'm about to get hit by a rocket launcher, so this is going to be fun. No, 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 no. Oh, yeah, dodged it. This is the problem with playing video games on your sofa at home. Sometimes your cat decides that she has a wild hair up her butt, and she is just going to make your entire evening more complex. Oh, I thought you were dead. Oh, well, now we're almost both dead. Isn't that convenient? So the nice thing about picking up their bodies and throwing them is, like I said, it does a little bit of damage to them. If they're on low health and not dead, it'll do enough damage to kill them off, generally speaking. It's not 100% effective, but wow, I've actually never had this spawn 3 waves, which is a weird thing to say. I mean, it spawns as many as it wants, but normally you just get 2 waves in this section. About 50% of the time I log into this section. There's some areas that just always get enemies. You're always going to spawn an enemy when you load into the area, and this is one of them for whatever reason. It seems like it's about 50-50 shot, but really, since you're generally just trying to run to this window, you're good. And it's always going to be frustrating. So now that I have levitation, it's not as important. Before I had levitation, I would run over here. You can warp to Central Research, run over here, and then you're at the top of Research, and you can get anywhere from here. I think I showed you this. Not this window, but this window leads you right out. Boom, and there's Casper's office. So it's an easy shortcut. Having said that, however, now that I have levitation, all things are possible. Not all things, but more things. So I can't get quite up there from here, but there might be a way to if I go back through that window. I'm wondering if I can jump from the top of this window upward. Let's see, okay. So I levitate a little ways, and then I just come through here, and jump, and it's just enough. Okay, so then once you're up here, you can kind of move around this space and get to some of these little secret areas. and they're some of the cool parts of the game. So let's see, we've got this one here. Let's see, where is the next one? I think it's up there. I don't know if I'll make that. That might be too high for me. So I really gotta use all my energy and book it over. There we go. Okay, and then once we're here, let's see, is there anything hidden here? All these doorways are sealed shut. There's a poor dead dude. I don't know how he got here, considering it's pretty high up, but whatever. And okay, so there's nothing up there. We can't actually go any higher. We just get closer to the light source that is invisible. But over here, we have a door that opens. And I can't remember. I think this is a bit of a hidden area Easter egg. So we end up down here. We go through this doorway. We get an ability point because we unlocked a secret area. So that's why we want to look for them. And then this area, this was that's right. I think this was a code, a cipher. And if you decoded it, you like got something. There was something special about that was like super, super special. This area also has some music I think you can play. No, I think it just does that to the poor chair. And the poor test dummy. And we can go in, and I don't think it's playing any actual audio. So with YouTube, if you play copyrighted music on YouTube, there's a bunch of algorithms that'll run through and see whether or not that copyrighted music belongs to anybody, and basically take away any money you would make from the video and give it to whomever it belongs to, right? Which is not a bad thing by any measure, but can be a pain in the ass when you're playing a video game and you just happen to play copyrighted music in the background. A lot of this game has copyrighted music in it. It's not a huge quantity, but it's enough that it's a problem. But this game very coolly gives you the option of turning off copyrighted music so that it doesn't play in the game. So if I'm in a section and it seems like disturbingly quiet, I can't tell if that's because there's not supposed to be any music or if that's because there was copyrighted music and the game has turned it off for me. So this is that area where we jumped out the window from. There's one more section here that I know of that's down here, and you see I can kind of use my ground pound ability. Oh wait, yeah, this is exactly where I was. Oh, I found a new area. Nope, that's a control point. You already had that control point. Good job, kiddo. All right, this area, however, I can't remember if there's a mold guy here. Doesn't look like it. I thought there was for some reason. This is a little hidden area, which is quite cool. I think all I got was that item and nothing else. And there should be like one more hard to get over there. I'm looking right at it. Hard to get to hidden area that has the coolest stuff. At least I thought this was the coolest. This was the coolest of the ones that I found. So we've got two sections here, and there's no door, right? There's no door. How do you get into these offices? I literally spent like a solid 2 minutes trying to figure out how to get in. You just bust the fucking window. Like, it's not that hard, Aaron. You just bust through the window, dumbass. But it really, I was like, how do I get in? I can't figure it. There's no doors. There's got to be a back way in there. They wouldn't just make it and not give me a doorway in, right? So there's a bunch of mold growth in this area, which is deeply unpleasant, obviously. Looks like there's nothing else in this one. This room should have, break the wall down. Oh, break a little bit more. Should have, let's see, what's this? Darling Underhill disagreement. Ooh. Okay. Dear Dr. Darling, I feel I must inform you of the very questionable documentation I'm seeing from Underhill's desk. She clearly has no concept of what the mold is. She claims there are microorganisms responsible for constructing the mold. Ridiculous. It's a rapidly growing fungus, not dissimilar to kudzu. She's fabricating complexity to justify her absurd budget demands. Speaking of which, I find it interesting that a friend of yours gets her budget approved with no questions asked. I wonder if the Operations Oversight Committee would be interested to learn of that. Yours in estimation, Dr. Abraham Lewis. I personally kind of hope Lewis is dead. I don't know whether or not he is, but I like Dr. Underhill. She's a prickly bitch. We'll meet her in a bit here, but I'm like, pardon me, why are you being a little bitch? Don't bring politics into this. I think this is kind of a pain in the rear. I don't know whether or not I can go in this room. No, I can't. So I have to go bug Dr. Underhill because that room is currently very toxic to me. So I'll go bug her and then we can come back. So the entire mold kind of universe that we end up with here is really interesting. What is that circle? Okay, so there is a circle there. What's it say? Oh, there's a Dr. Darling presentation up here. You're welcome. And you're welcome.
It's done. With just one large-scale HRA. It's an easy choice, no choice. It's there now. Protecting the most important thing from what's coming. I'll be there inside. Locked in. Ready to be blown away. Ready for the journey. To be blown flying into the model. Ready to see.
Anybody who makes a 2001 Space Odyssey reference is just winning in my book. He looks like things went a little bit unstable near the end there, yeah? So, that bugged me at first. The first time I saw that, I was like, it was no choice. What was the other option? I couldn't think of where else, like, okay, so you only have one large-scale HRA, and you put it someplace. We're not going to figure out where it is for a while, because of course we're not. I'm not good enough to pay attention to that shit early on in the game. But once we finally figure out where it is, I'm like, where else would you have put it? Oh, he wanted to put it at the NCS power plant. That's why we heard about him at the NCS power plant from Arish. And he did, in fact, mention that Darling was tearing his clothes off, probably because he was losing his fucking mind. So Arish saw Darling shortly before he lost his shit. But it was several days ago, so I guess Darling has been losing his shit for several days, is kind of the answer there, too. Which means things have been going wrong for a bit here. I saw a red flash. I know it spawned more. I just have to figure out where they are. Ah. Fuck all of you guys. Fuck everyone in this general vicinity. This is always when I get killed by something, when I'm like, oh, I'm so good, I'm just gonna jump around, I'm gonna run around, this is gonna be awesome, and then I get killed by just stupidity. Like this. Okay. Killed the sphere. No, I didn't kill the sphere. Where the fuck is the sphere? Come on. There you are, buddy. Alright, so now we got the sphere down. And then normally, my go-to for dealing with these floaty dudes is to get a little bit higher up than them, because they don't actually like levitating that high. They end up getting stuck in their own bullshit. And then we can use Pierce to kill some of them, hopefully. We can push one of them. Unless we have more shooty dudes up here, we do not. Okay, so we just have to deal with these guys one at a time. Oh. One of those motherfuckers. So you don't have to aim down the iron sights, well, whatever we're going to call the iron sights, every time you shoot. But it does help. They despawned. They despawned. Not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. They despawned. That's fine. So I'm pretty sure we already checked out the research office. No, we didn't. Okay. So, since we're in research, we can take a look. This is Dr. Darling and Emily Pope's office. And there's yet another Darling presentation.
Regarding HRS.
Forgot about this. This is a good one. This is a good one.
Do you always need to wear them? And what's the deal with the Hedron resonance anyway? Fuck. Despite what you may have heard, HRAs are not monitoring devices. We're not tracking your movements or listening to your conversations while you're wearing them. We do that regardless whether or not you're wearing an HRA.
You work for the paranormal FBI, of course you are.
As a life preserver. Only instead of water, the thing HRAs protect you from is classified.
That's helpful, thanks.
One day that classified not water might pour in, and you'll be glad you got an HRA keeping you afloat. And if you don't have an HRA, don't worry. It'll be quick and painless. Kidding. I'm kidding. We're making more.
Comforting. That's one of the better Dr. Darling presentations. You get worried. So, I love this. You walk in and you're like, this is a weird lab. That's Dr. Darling's half. That's Emily Pope's half. I just love the contrast. So, we've got a collectible here, resonance theory. Let's see what it says. Summary, compiled by Dr. Casper Darling. Resonance, it's there, but we can't see it. It vibrates around us, through us, from us. But what if the vibration is conscious? What could a force like that do? Blank opened the door to a blank I've called blank. The blank emits a force that is far beyond the forces we've previously dealt with. It has shown me so much that I have to wonder, is resonance the key element in all altered phenomena? AWEs, altered items, objects of power, do they share a common blank that we've yet to discover? We can harmonize control points. What else would the correct frequency allow us to do? What if resonance has been the answer this whole time? Refer to file blank for full report. So I think it's the Faden siblings opened a door to a alternate dimension that I've called, or maybe it's an alternate dimensional being, and he's talking about Hedron. I think that might be it. But regardless, resonance. It's all based on resonance. And so now we have the multimedia files if we want to see them for high quality of HRAs and the large scale HRA. The research department really is the gift that keeps on giving. All right, so now we've got, all those papers fell down. Darling budget request. Quick and dirty. Dr. Darling, okay. Yeah, I hate Abraham Lewis. I forgot that it was the same notes. So the guy I was ragging on earlier where I'm like, listen, why are you giving Underhill a hard time? Her work is important. Also wrote this. Dr. Darling, I suspect my colleague Dr. Harrington has already contacted you asking for an increase in the department's budget. I'm not surprised. Parapsychology has always been a squeaky wheel with fuss but no results. Parakinesiology has always been the stronger department. More breakthroughs, more tangible data, more usable research. I'm sure a man of your esteem can plainly see which department is more deserving of the budget increase. Just think what those additional resources could do for an already formidable research team. Anyway, I know you're a fan of single malt, so I left a bottle of well-aged brown on your desk. Yours in admiration, Dr. Abraham Lewis. So I think he sent this before he sent the nasty one about Dr. Underhill's budget, but either way, I hope Lewis is dead. Let's see, we have another file over here. Will the wall come down? No. Okay, so this one's about the astral plane. And it's saying, astral plane and objects of power. The Bureau has spent years studying why objects of power transport the users into the astral plane while touched. My predecessor, Dr. Ash, theorized that the potential receptacle, determined by Jungian archetypes in the collective subconscious, would be inhabited by paranatural energies when an AWE occurred in its vicinity, creating an altered item. Over time, a link was created by the blank and the astral plane to that item, making it an object of power. So many additional theories have been raised since Dr. Ash's time, and objects of power were placed on Earth as tests by some astral entity. Our dimension was once part of the astral plane, and the objects were left behind as its borders receded. The astral plane was an early threshold into the oldest house, but the connection was severed, and now they are linked solely through objects of power. I will attempt to disprove some of these in order to thin the herd. Hopefully, the truth will emerge. So this is Casper talking to his goddamn self, pretty much. He wrote this for no one because he wanted to disprove some stupid-ass theories by arguing about them. He's rubber duck coding for physics, I guess. So we've got the desk of an idiot, and then we have the lovely desk of one Emily Pope, which is so organized. And I love this. Yes. No. I don't know what the fuck Emily was trying to do there, but she's adorable. So she also has a file back here. Hers is on Astral Plane Counter Essay, by Emily Pope, talking to her goddamn self. It's by order of no one. So this is like directly after you read Casper's. She wrote this. Dr. Darling is insistent that certain objects of power share a direct connection to the blank, an entity or group of entities that we have little information on, or little than I am allowed to access. Ooh, she is salty. In his written reports, he states that there's a clear link between these objects of power, the blank, the astral plane, and the oldest house itself. His work supposes that these links are innate, in fact ingrained into the very blank of objects such as the hotline and service weapon. But what if these particular objects were never linked to the blank? But had that connection forced upon them? Isn't it strange that no other objects of power require direct contact with the blank? Isn't it strange that using the service weapon or the hotline will result in grievous harm or even death if the user is not the director, or at least worthy of the role? Why do we assume involvement by the blank is a natural factor and not something more blank? I love this. Emily is clever. So it's the board is what's blacked out most of these. So objects of power share a direct connection to the board. And her supposition is that these objects of power are not innately tied to the board. We have considered the board inherently tied to the oldest house and to the FBC in general, but that's not necessarily an innate connection. That may be something the board has just forced upon the oldest house in the FBC. There's also all these lovely pictures of, I think that's Carla Vaughn and Dr. Darling, that are straight from a video clip that we see later on, in addition to these wonderful straight-up shots from in-game physics of various points in the house. And yeah, Emily's bookshelf is like organized, she has plants, her desk is organized, she has an inbox and an outbox, her post-its are next to her date book and planner. I mean, it's just, look at that. The little briefcase, she's got a little briefcase tucked into the desk. Like, and then we have the disaster over here that so much more fun, right? Also, these are all over the game. You can make them do that. That's it. That's all they're for. There's a puzzle involving one at one point in the game, but not until relatively later. So, and this one's not involved in that. But, so this was the research department office, which, might be one of my favorite rooms in the game. Normally I just stop by, see how things are going every time I'm in the area, because I'm a huge weeb, and I love lore. And I'm going to kill these guys with their own hand grenades, if I have any say in the matter. I think that killed him. Does he have a prospect good? Yeah, he's good. So, levitating, not always the best option. Because you are easily shot, but alternately, if people are expecting you to be on ground level, it's super effective. Because you're just not on ground level. So things like grenades are not going to work on you. Don't let me say that I'm not going to still get myself killed. I'm absolutely still going to get myself killed. Watch me. It just means that it should be harder to kill them. Oh my hot goodness. Okay, yeah, let's run through some of this health. So I'm not sure why earlier it canceled out of that whole fight, but I think it was because I got too close to the research office and it knew that that was going to be like relevant and didn't want anybody attacking me while I might have gone into a video cutscene. I'm not positive. I mean, obviously that wasn't a video cutscene, but the Dr. Darling presentation was, so I'm wondering if maybe it was like, oh, you're near a presentation, I'll just back the fuck off then. And then maybe if I'd already seen the presentation, it wouldn't have done that. I don't know. Sometimes this game is more intelligent than I give it credit for. Alright, so I always feel bad because research is so pretty and I just destroy the shit out of it. But as you can see, this area feels very different when you have some verticality to experiment with. But we're going to avoid these enemies because I don't want to deal with them. Watch that. That's the nicest thing about the levitation in this game. At some point you just stop being afraid of falling from great heights. Her little legs kick and I'm like, oh, you're fine. It's fine. You're going to be okay. So, I don't remember if I showed you when I came down here, but I came down here. And explored this area and got the elevator working so I could go back up. And over here is Dr. Raya Underhill.
There,
and you will immediately
I wouldn't go in there without talking to Underhill first. Even if you have, I still wouldn't go in.
Smart men. I feel like, I don't know. She calls them by names earlier, but I think they're maybe like joking names, like
Excuse me, or something. Are you lost?
My favorite. They're all my favorite. Have you noticed?
Do you normally barge into people's private workspaces?
She clearly doesn't know who she's talking to.
Shouldn't you be in a safe room?
Why? Because of those hiss things the Rangers keep going on about. Haven't you people sorted that out yet? The situation down here could spell doom for the Bureau.
You mean this mold?
Correct. perhaps you could help me. I require samples of various mold strains, and the mold has made the environment far too dangerous for me to fetch them myself.
Really? Mold samples? I thought this could spell doom.
It could, and it will, whoever you are. The mold is spreading. We need to find the source before it spreads too far.
And these samples will do that?
No. Samples of 5 unique strains, when blended properly, will allow you to travel deeper into the pit, where I've pinpointed the approximate location of the source of the mold.
Okay. So what do these samples look like?
Similar to the one on my table there. I've made a list of the samples I need. Here. You'll find them throughout the threshold.
I'll take a look. My name's Jessie, by the way.
I'm sure it is.
I love her. I love her so much. So, she gave us a mission. I'm just going to go through her speech stuff because I love her so much.
Have you worked with Emily Pope?
Our paths have crossed. Darling arranged for us to have a coffee. A meeting of the minds, he called it. She's talented. I can certainly see her doing well here.
I feel like there's a but coming.
But she's drunk a bit too much of the Bureau's proverbial Kool-Aid. She shouldn't be afraid to forge ahead on her own.
Well, I don't
Science
think she
is
is at all.
skepticism. Everything must be questioned before the truth can emerge.
All right.
So is Darling your boss?
If you insist on clinging to such outdated hierarchies, then yes. However, I would argue that our fields are too dissimilar for one to manage the other. Of course, Darling would much prefer to find his own miracle solution to the Bureau's fungal frustrations. He always needs to be the hero.
We've gathered that.
So tell me again how you came to work at the Bureau?
Well, like I said, I was brought in as a special advisor, a temporary position, you see. Although that's not the whole truth. I was employed here for a time, straight out of university. After a decade of admittedly fascinating work in threshold research and regulation, I began to chafe under the bureaucracy. I needed a change.
She's a good
Not
scientist.
so different.
And then the mold happened.
About 4 months ago, yes. Since my departure from the Bureau, they hadn't been able to find my equal in threshold analysis. Darling and I had kept in touch over the years, meeting at conferences and the like. He called me, and I booked a flight. I've never been able to say no to a man with a dangerous alien biosphere. I had to leave my post in the middle of term, but so be it.
So she's a professor.
Nothing's more interesting than
That
working here.
explains a
What could
lot.
possibly be more interesting than working at the FBC? That's my problem. Like, why would you ever do
The
anything
mold
else?
seems to be having some weird effects on things.
Indeed. Even people are susceptible. The fungus grows rapidly within the chest cavity, killing the host. Luckily, one must ingest the stalks to become infected.
So
Don't eat the mold. Okay.
We've always cremated the infected bodies after autopsy, but I believe there may be another stage of maturity. A blooming, if you will.
I never thought the word blooming would sound so horrible.
Yeah, gross, 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 gross. I love her. I love her. I love her.
Thanks for the
So,
information.
I'll go a little ways into
My
this
pleasure.
threshold. I'm not going to do the full exploration of this. Because I hate the mold section. I hate it. I hate it. So you can see everything is still relatively squared off because it's just like the rest of the Bureau where there's this square kind of growth pattern to the oldest house in general.
Sweet down here. So
But-
I'm really hungry.
It's covered
I
in
wonder
this
how this mold
crap.
tastes.
Don't eat the mold. It's like the first rule. The first rule of the mold section is don't eat the mold. So this whole part sucks, and the reason why is not these guys. These guys are not so bad. The reason why is that motherfucker over there who's gonna start shooting shit at me, and it's near unavoidable. I hate him so much. So I end up doing this whole thing where I just go like this, throw shit at him, and then dodge. And then he shoots those fucking pellets. This is the guy I was talking about earlier when I was like, man, there's this annoying fucking enemy in the game. I think it's the most annoying enemy in the game. It's him. And see, they're slightly homing. So that's the reason I'm not going to play this section right now, because I fucking hate it. It's fucking awful. Just because of that guy, and I always have to go through that guy. I think once I explore the area a little bit more thoroughly, he stops spawning every time I come in. But for a good long while there, he's there, and it's annoying. But like anywhere else in the house, so we have two events going on here. We have the kind of squared off weirdness from the oldest house in the hiss, and then we also have the mold growing on top of that, which is just a great combination. I swear to God, I thought I put a fuse in that thing. Maybe I didn't have levitate at the time. So that's what makes the lift work, and that way I can get back out of here. So now I can come and go from here. I mean, it's pretty easy to fall down a hole, so it's not like it was challenging to get here or anything. The first time, though, I didn't have levitation, and I had to jump from platform to platform on my way down, which it's designed to do. That's kind of the great thing about this game. It's very much like you'll go at your own pace. You'll do what you need to do. Like, if you end up in a weird section, that's okay. It is still very linear. Like, you can't get... Nope, fuck you guys. You can't get all the way to the end section without breaking the game, without going through the sections preceding it. But it's pretty cool. This is another not secret area where there is normally music. So this is I wouldn't call it an Easter egg. This is the lyrics to a song, I can't remember the name of it, Dark Descent? It's by Poets of the Fall. So this is a kind of cute little Easter egg in here. So answer the questions within 2 minutes of listening. My Darkest Quiet by Poets of the Fall. 1. Did the song elicit any particular memories? If so, elaborate. 2. At any point did you feel a strong emotion? If so, what emotion? 3. Did a clear image of a weapon appear at your mind during the song? If so, elaborate. 4. Provide a detailed description of your current surroundings as you've seen them. 5. Have you ever heard the murmur of voices when no one is present? If so, what did they say? Do you hear them now? 6. Please choose from one of the following pairs. 1 or 2, A or B, day or night, apple or orange, burn out or fade away. So I think the entire point of this note is to call out, like, hey, the music you're hearing, this is who it's by. It's by these people. This is the music that you're hearing is by these people. This is their actual fucking album cover. This is the back of their album. Over there is the lyrics to the song that is playing for the whole song. Unfortunately, you will not hear this because I've turned the copyrighted music off. I think if I walk right up to the speakers... Oh, no, it actually is on. Okay, no, never mind, I'm leaving. I don't need a copyright strike on my YouTube. Not that I'm making any money on this shit, but still, you can hear the screaming of the boys upstairs now. So that's kind of a cool thing. So Poets of the Fall is actually a real-life band. That is the name of the real-life band. What they did is as I understand it, music for this game. They did that song. They also did music for the game Alan Wake, in which there's a fictional band called the Old Gods of Asgard. Whoa, floaty boys. Yep, leaving. And the Old Gods of Asgard play a couple of different songs, I think, throughout the game of Alan Wake. The story of the Old Gods of Asgard is that it's actually a band composed of, like, Tyr and Odin, as I recall, who really are the gods, Tyr and Odin. And, or at least they're archetypes of the gods, Tyr and Odin. That's where things get kind of weird. And in-game, they end up helping Alan by providing kind of hints in a couple of their songs to things that he needs to do. So it ties into the rest of the game as a whole, and it's kind of this 70s ballad rock sort of thing going on. I love it. It's lovely. Having said that, though, I think they just wanted to continue using them for these games because it's fun, and it's fun if you have a band that's kind of already canonically in the world. I think at some point the Old Gods of Asgard are actually in this very game, in as much as there is a song that Jesse listens to at one point that's by them. It's just like on tape recorder. So, like I said, you can kind of see how the layout of the game has been changed because of the fact that I can levitate. Everything shifts because I'm no longer bound by 2D space. So it's kind of fun. I'm just sort of running through this area to show you, like, various places. I always miss shit, I gotta be completely honest. But there's all sorts of stuff where you can levitate up to areas, and there's secret areas. There's all sorts of fun Easter eggs and hidden sections. I'm just going to those and saving just in case I die. Here, I will not die because I'm blasting through this room and not even killing the hiss. Oh, yeah, and then we're back to this janky hallway. Right, forgot about janky hallway from hell. Which I don't think ever gets completely resolved. This hallway always looks like this. So then we're back here. Not so bad, just went around in a circle, and that's that, like I said, my least favorite elevator in the game that I almost never take a second time. We're gonna go from here, and we'll just stay on the map while it goes. Elevators don't do that. That's not how elevators work. Stop making the elevator do that. Whatever. We appreciate it. Because it's all the same area, it still has the life and the stuff that I dropped earlier from there. I don't know what the fuck I was saying. That's fine. We're going to probably call it here. I'll call this about a, 20-minute, 30-minute stream, and we'll move on from there. We got to see a couple Dr. Darling presentations. We got to read a couple paperworks. We met Raya Underhill, who might be my favorite character in the game, but like I said, they're all my favorite character. I mean, they're all my favorite character. They're just wonderful. But we'll come back to this next time, and I hope you guys had fun. I hope you enjoyed watching this somehow. If you're my mom, I love you. If you're not my mom, I love you too. I hope you guys have a great night.